Pain is when the body feels a physical discomfort caused by illness or injury that we want to alleviate. How can the body do that? In order to drive a reaction to the stimuli, the body undergoes a full process involving multiple body systems. Pain can be categorized into two types of pain, acute and chronic. Acute pain typically comes on suddenly and has a limited duration. It's frequently caused by damage to the tissue, such as bone, muscle, or organs. Pain is perceptive, and the severity of pain varies from person to person. Some examples of acute pain descriptors are aching, soreness, burning, stinging, sharp pain, dull pain, and tenderness. Pain motivates the individual to withdraw from damaging situations, to protect the damaged body part while it heals, and to avoid similar experiences in the future. Most acute pain resolves promptly once this painful stimulus is removed and the body has healed, but some pain persists despite the removal of the stimulus. The two main systems involved in producing a response to a pain stimulus are the nervous system and the muscular system. The nervous system collects and processes information from the senses via nerves and the brain, and then transmits the signal to the muscular system, which enables the body to move away from the stimulus through muscle contraction. Let's explain in depth at the cellular level of how the body responds to pain stimuli.
When the body encounters a pain stimulus through the sensory organs located around the body, the signals are transmitted to the dendrites, which are hair-like extensions from the neuron. All the signals travel through the neuron head and are analyzed at the axon hillock, which will fire an action potential along the axon when the conditions are right. An action potential will be fired when the inner membrane of the neuron is at -50 mV. If the neuron does not receive enough information from dendrites, the signal transmission will stop and the neural membrane will stay at a resting potential at -70 mV. The action potential only lasts for a few milliseconds and occurs only at the membrane. The action potential runs along the axon and is responsible for transmitting the signal to surrounding cells. Within the membrane, there are voltage-gated potassium channels and voltage-gated sodium channels that allow their respective ions to diffuse back and forth according to their respective electrochemical gradients.
At resting potential, the membrane is positive outside and negative inside, in which sodium ions are prevalent outside the cell and potassium ions are prevalent inside. When an action potential is fired, the interior voltage reaches the threshold of -50 mV. This depolarizes the axon membrane and causes the voltage-gated sodium channels to open, allowing sodium ions to rush into the cell. Because opposite charges attract, the depolarization of one position on the axon membrane affects the position next to it, and the action potential continues to move down along the axon like a domino effect, until the action potential reaches the axon terminus. After each voltage-gated channel opens for 3 milliseconds, it closes for 2 milliseconds. This is called the refractory period, which forces the electrical signal to move in one direction forward. The electrical signal is an all or none process, meaning that the signal goes all the way through the axon or nothing goes through it. There are no weak signals or half signals that travel down the axon. Neurons need to transmit their signals from the brain to effector cells quickly and effectively in order to generate a reaction to the stimulus. They do this through chemical signals at the synapses between the axon terminus of a presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron. When the action potential arrives at the axon terminus, it opens the voltage-gated calcium channels to allow calcium ions to come into the cell. Calcium ions cause the neurotransmitter to be released from the vesicles and diffuse out of the presynaptic neuron and into the synapse. Once the neurotransmitter reaches the postsynaptic neuron, it depolarizes the first position and starts the action potential along the axon of this new neuron. Once the action potential reaches a motor neuron, the muscles become stimulated and muscle contraction occurs as a result. This allows the individual to withdraw from damaging situations involving pain stimuli, to protect a damaged body part while it heals, and to avoid similar experiences in the future.